If you were to rank the most expensive liquids on planet Earth, you would find some predictable items at the top of the list. Vintage Dom Pérignon champagne, Chanel No. 5 perfume, even human blood. But sitting right alongside them, costing thousands of dollars per gallon, is a liquid that sits on almost every office desk in the world: black printer ink. Why does a tiny plastic cartridge containing a few drops of black liquid cost $40? Today, we are putting companies like HP, Canon, and Epson on the autopsy table. We are going to look at the Trojan Horse business model. We're going to expose how these corporations use a ridiculously cheap entry price to take your wallet hostage, and how you can use the exact same math to stop buying liabilities that drain your personal wealth. If you walk into an electronics store today, you can buy a high-tech, wireless, full-color printer with a built-in scanner for about $50. If you know anything about manufacturing, logistics, and microchips, you know that pricing a machine like that at $50 makes absolutely zero sense. The plastic, the glass, a circuitry, and the shipping costs from overseas far exceed $50. The manufacturer is actively losing money every single time a customer buys one, but they do not care. Because they are not in the hardware business. They are in the liquid subscription business. That $50 printer is a Trojan horse. The manufacturer knows that once that machine is sitting on your desk, connected to your Wi-Fi network, you are completely locked into their ecosystem. When the starter ink runs out a few weeks later, you have to go back to the store. That is when the trap snaps shut. You are forced to pay $40, $50, or even $80 for replacement cartridges that contain just a few cents worth of actual ink. In the business world, this is known as the razor and blades model. You give the customer the razor handle for pennies, and you bankrupt them on the replacement blades. But the printer companies took this model and turned it into a hostage situation. If you realize the branded ink is a ripoff, you might try to buy a cheap third-party cartridge online. But the manufacturer anticipated that. They started putting microscopic DRM chips, digital rights management chips, inside their official ink cartridges. When you slide a generic cartridge into the machine, the printer's software scans for that microchip. If it doesn't find it, the printer will intentionally display an error message and physically refuse to print your document. Even worse, these companies frequently push mandatory firmware updates over your Wi-Fi specifically designed to detect and block third-party ink. They sell you the machine at a loss, lock the doors, and force you to pay a massive premium on the maintenance just to keep the machine functioning. This brings us to the most critical lesson for your personal finances. It is a fundamental rule of building wealth, and it goes like this: cheap is expensive. Let me repeat that because it is the exact reason the middle class stays broke. Cheap is expensive. Most consumers are entirely obsessed with the upfront sticker price. They are completely blind to the maintenance trap. And corporate America exploits this psychological blind spot in almost every industry. Think about this single-serve coffee pod machine. You buy the machine on sale for $40. It feels like a steal. But you are now locked into buying proprietary plastic pods that calculate out to $50 a pound for average tasting coffee. Over 3 years, that cheap machine costs you thousands of dollars in operating fees. Or look at the used car market. A consumer will find a 12-year-old luxury German sedan for $5,000. They think they outsmarted the market. They think they got a massive discount on a premium asset. But they didn't. They bought a Trojan horse. They bought a liability that requires imported parts, specialized labor, and premium fuel. That $5,000 car will systemly cost them $4,000 a year in mandatory maintenance just to keep it on the road. The sticker price was cheap, but the reality was incredibly expensive. To build a real financial surplus, you have to start thinking like a chief financial officer. A CFO never makes a purchasing decision based on the sticker price. They use a metric called total cost of ownership. Total cost of ownership calculates the upfront price, plus all the required maintenance, consumables, and operating costs over a 5-year period. If you apply this metric to the printer industry, the frugal wealth builder does not buy the $50 color inkjet. The strategist buys a $300 black and white laser printer. The upfront sticker price is painful. It feels expensive, but a laser printer does not use liquid ink. It uses dry toner. It doesn't dry out if you don't use it. One toner cartridge can last for years and print thousands of pages for pennies. Over a 5-year timeline, the $300 laser printer is mathematically far cheaper than the $50 inkjet. This is how you protect your capital. You have to look past the bait. Whether it is a printer, a car, or a timeshare, you must calculate the total cost of ownership before you sign the receipt. Stop buying cheap liabilities that require an expensive subscription just to survive. Because remember, cheap is expensive. If you want to keep identifying the financial traps that are draining your bank account, hit the subscribe button. We have plenty more autopsies to do.